Hi guys. Evening's winding down here. It's almost dark outside, so I just got my little man to bed in the bus and waiting for my husband to get home. So I'm just sitting out here on the deck house. This is kind of my sanctuary, my prayer closet. This is where I come for my quiet time and to be with the Lord. And got my citronella candle going, and just happen to think back on my day, and ran into somebody from my past that they have a lot of darkness in them. And I've talked with them, dealt with them, and the darkness doesn't want to go anywhere. And sometimes in those situations, there are things that are not meant for us to handle. Some of those things that are like in that deeper realm of spiritual awareness are not. Some of those things are not meant for certain people to handle. One thing I do know is that their spirit does not like my spirit, my light. And I count that as a victory, and those regards, that my light is shining, that my love for Jesus is that radiates that much, that it offends the darkness. And praise God for that. His love for me is that evident on the outside. And I'm not boasting on me at all. Like, this really has nothing to do with me. It's all Jesus. But it got me thinking about the demoniac that Jesus encountered when he was had just finished. He had just finished the Sermon on the Mount, and he needed to get away because there were a lot of people there. And Jesus went away a lot to kind of just get a break. Sometimes we all just need a little break, and that's normal. That's human. We need that. Jesus needed that. And anyway, he had gathered the disciples, and they crossed the Sea of Galilee. And this is where he calms the storm. Says, "Peace, be still," which is fantastic, and that's probably another talk that we can get into. But after this, they get to the region of, what is it? The Gerasene region. And I'm gonna read out of Mark 5, probably most of the way through 5 to, let me see, well, up until 2021 somewhere. It's a little dark, so if I skip a little bit, forgive me. Jesus heals the demon-possessed man. So they arrived on the other side of the lake, in the region of the Gerasenes. When Jesus climbed out of the boat, a man possessed by an evil spirit came out from the tombs to meet him. This man lived in the burial caves and could no longer be restrained, even with a chain. Whenever he was put into chains and shackles, as he often was, he snapped the chains from the wrists and smashed the shackles. No one was strong enough to subdue him. Day and night he wandered among the burial caves and the hills, howling and cutting himself with sharp stones. Like, this guy was having a bad day. He was so bad off that they put him out by the burial tombs, and they bound him, and You know, the demons that were in him, the darkness that was in him was so strong that he broke the shackles, and he would just, you know, he was just insane with darkness, and, you know, cutting himself and scaring anybody that would walk by. So when Jesus was still some distance away, the man saw him and ran to meet him and bowed low before him. With a shriek, he screamed, "Why are you interfering with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? In the name of God, I beg you, don't torture me." For Jesus had already said to the spirit, "Come out of the man, you evil spirit." So this guy, you know, who didn't even know Jesus, knew Jesus. Like the demons in him knew that Jesus was anointed. They knew that they knew that they were dealing with Son of the Most High God, and they knew that this was business, you know, because you know, he knew that they'd already been cast out of heaven. These demons had already been cast out. You know, they knew what the deal was. They said, "It's not our time yet," you know. So Jesus had said, you know, "Come out, you evil spirit." Then Jesus demanded, "What is your name?" And the man replied, "My name is Legion, because there are so many of us inside this man." The evil spirits begged him again and again not to send them to some distant place. There happened to be a large herd of pigs feeding in the hillside nearby. "Send us into those pigs," the spirits begged. "Let us enter them." Now, if we stop for a moment and kind of, you know, pick that apart, you know, they're acknowledging that he's Jesus. They're acknowledging that he's the Most High. And, you know, they say, there's 100 of us in here. Please don't destroy us. Send us into those pigs. You know, that was their request. But what does that tell us? Pigs is that they were in Gentile country, Gentile territory, you know, that Jesus hadn't really taken full authority over the Gentile realm yet. He kept saying, "It's not my time yet. It's not my time." And even when he's dealing with the Samaritan woman, he was very, very precise about how he chose how to introduce Christianity to the Gentiles, because it was only supposed to be for the Jews until Jesus came. You know, so he used the woman at the well as a sounding horn for Christianity, and now he's using this other Gentile man who's possessed with 100 demons. You know, so let us enter those pigs, they screeched. So Jesus gave them permission. The evil spirits came out of the man. About 2,000 pigs plunged. And entered the pigs. Yes, I told you that light is not very good. The evil spirits came out of the man and entered the pigs, and the entire herd of about 2,000 pigs plunged down the steep hillside into the lake and drowned in the water. Now this was like catastrophic for the Gentile village. Why? Because like 2,000 pigs, that's like you know, that's their whole ecosystem. That's you know what their food source, their money source, all of these things. And now they've all, you know, taken a nosedive off the side of this hill. You know, what are they supposed to do now? So the herdsmen fled to the nearby town and surrounding countryside, spreading the news as they ran. People rushed out to see what had happened. A crowd soon gathered around Jesus, and they saw the man who had been possessed by the legion of demons. He was sitting there fully clothed and perfectly sane, and they were all afraid. Then those who had seen what had happened told the others about the demon-possessed man and the pigs, and the crowd began pleading with Jesus to go away and leave them alone. Like, "You've done enough. Just leave us alone." As Jesus was getting into the boat, the man who had been demon-possessed begged to go with him, but Jesus said no. You know, and that's that also is a lesson within itself, that, sometimes God tells us no, because he's got other plans. We might have our own plans, our will, our plan to do it this way. And God says, no, I'm not gonna answer that prayer. I've got something else planned for you that's going to be way better. We might not always see it right now, but God knows. Oh, the frogs are coming out. As Jesus was getting into the boat, the man begged, but Jesus said, no, go home to your family and tell them everything the Lord has done for you and how merciful he had been. So the man started off to visit the 10 towns of that region, also known as the Decapolis. And he began to proclaim the great things that Jesus had done for him, and everyone was amazed by what he had told them. See, this man had a reputation. Everybody was afraid of him, scared of him. Don't go. He had a reputation for being a really nasty guy. And like me, like a lot of people out there, we all have a past, but that's the beautiful thing, is that it doesn't matter where we come from, what our past was, what we've done. God makes us new. Jesus died on that cross to take care of all of those sins and wash us new. And the beautiful thing about Jesus telling this man no was that he went into the Decapolis. This man went in, to these 10 cities and gave his testimony about who he was then and who he is now. And, people knew him, they knew his past, but to see him be fully sane, fully have all of his faculties, have his life together, people knew that he was telling the truth. And the miraculous thing that happened directly after that is Jesus fed the 5,000. That this one man's testimony, as he went around and told about what had happened to him, the effect that God had had in his life, his encounter with Jesus, changed 5,000 people in a matter of no time. So I don't really know how to wrap this up so much, other than to say that there's hope. If you're battling that darkness, if you're battling those strongholds, it's okay. We'll pray for renewal of mind, renewal of spirit. Maybe tomorrow I'll get into those strongholds a little bit more, and try to explain that a little bit better. But point being is, it doesn't matter where you come from, what you've done. The moment you step into the love of Jesus, the light of Jesus, your life is forever changed. And I'll share a little bit of my testimony with you guys sometime. It's heavy, it's dark at times, and I tell people all the time that I wouldn't want to relive it, but I would never change a single moment of it, a single thing, because I wouldn't have the love and appreciation that I have for Jesus today if I hadn't gone through all of those things in the past. But that change that Jesus brings is incredible, and it can do incredible things to help others. and bring others to Jesus. You know, just by me sharing a little bit of these stories with you. You know, my husband reminded me to let you guys know to like and subscribe. You know, this is all new to me. You know, but if this resonates with you, you know, we're just trying to get the word out to as many people as possible. You know, we live a very simple lifestyle out here. We, you know, we homestead. We started out in a school bus, and now we have a tiny home that's connected by this deck house. The school bus is over there, and our tiny house is right next to us, like connected by this structure here. You know, we're off grid. We're out in the woods, and away from the world, because this is where Jesus called us to be. This is where the Lord has called us to be, and it's amazing. And you know, we just want to share a little bit of our life, our story with you guys, and because we care so much about everybody. You know, we love you. We love the Lord, and we want to see as many people come to Jesus as possible. And I'm gonna pray. I'm gonna wind this down. But just want to say a prayer of gratitude today, Lord. Thank you for the encounter at the grocery store, Lord, to remind me that you know, that my light needs to continually shine, that my love for you needs to be on the forefront of everything that I do, Lord, that it is so important that when we encounter people, we can do it with boldness, we can do it with brightness, and beautiful things happen. You know, beautiful things happen. And I just want to thank you, Lord, for that encounter, and the encounter with the other young lady that I had today, the girl. I got to buy lunch and some groceries for a young lady in need at the grocery store today. So, you know, right after I had my encounter with the darkness, God brought the light back in and said, you know, this is why we're doing this. And it was such a beautiful thing. Lord, thank you for giving me such a fulfilling day, a long day. But Lord, I just gotta say thank you, and give you all the praise, Lord, for the words, for the love, for the eyes of Jesus, the heart of Jesus, the ears of Jesus, Lord. Just thank you. I hope that this message can reach as many people as possible. Lord, let it reach those people that need to hear it. And man, you are just so good. We love you guys. I'm going to go in for the night, but I'll catch you next time. Thank you so much for listening. God bless. Love you. Good night.